Hi guys, and welcome to a new sketchbook tour video. It's been a hot minute actually since I last did a sketchbook tour video. I think that's probably because I actually haven't finished that many sketchbooks in a long time, and I think I finished this one a few months ago, so I've just been waiting to get around to filming this video for you. I hope you are interested. I think it's a bit different. So the past few months I've been doing lots of drawing process videos, so I thought it'd be nice to do dig out this old sketchbook that I finished a few months ago and show you what it's all about. I mean, it's been a while since I've finished a sketchbook. It's not something I tend to do. I'm kind of one of those people, one of those artists who likes to buy new sketchbooks, start new sketchbooks, and then start a different one because for some reason I've given up on this one. So I'm not very consistent with finishing sketchbooks. I do have a couple on the go that I am intending to finish, and I think I need to do that for my own kind of well-being at this point. I know if you're like me, you probably have well, you might not be like me, but you might be like me and have a whole ton of sketchbooks taking up space, and to be honest, I need a bit of a clear out, so I'm going to make it a mission to actually finish these sketchbooks before I buy any new ones. It's tough, it's easier said than done. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm bored of the sketchbook, I want to start a new one, but yeah, that's the curse of the artist, I think. If you're like me and you're just like, oh, new sketchbook, yay, let's start a new sketchbook, bored, let's start a new one, because something goes wrong. Maybe you start nicely, and then a few pages in you go, yeah, that's a really bad sketch, I need to start a new one. It's a vicious cycle. But anyway, I have this one here, and this is kind of a little bit of an example of starting off with good intentions and then just kind of going through and these intentions changing and realizing, do you know what, I'd rather just finish a sketchbook than make it perfect, and I think that's something I need to kind of carry forward. But this sketchbook I actually made myself. I did this a while ago. I was making a bunch of sketchbooks. I sold a few, but this one didn't sell, so I thought, you know what, I'll use it myself. It's kind of an interesting shape. It's actually quite narrow and tall, so that when you open it up it's almost kind of square. So it's a nice little shape sketchbook. It's quite a nice little size, kind of like the pages. But yeah, so let's tuck in. So yes, I definitely started off with good intentions with this sketchbook. So here's some little mushy drawings. These were done in just simple coloured pencils, I think. I took some references inspired by a few other stylistic mushrooms that I'd seen. I thought I'd give a go, something like this. So I started picking up this kind of going with the flow, curvaceous shading technique, in order to build up a little bit of volume. So that's something I do a lot more recently as well, but this is probably where it started, giving it a bit of a practice. This is not even a proper page of the sketchbook. This is the end page, so it's actually a different paper to the rest of the sketchbook, but I think they came out kind of cool. I like the colours, the orange, the purple, the green. It's all very complementary. This is, yeah, definitely something I did to commit. I was going to fill this sketchbook with lots of aesthetic drawings, and as you'll see, that kind of changed as I went on. So yes, and did I have anything on here? No, there's a couple of blank pages, but they're a bit tricky to draw on because they're where the end pages meet the sketchbook. So maybe I should go back and fill those out at some point. But yeah, some kitty cat drawings. This is actually using my Tom Studio Lumos Duo, which is a pen that I absolutely love, and I've spoken about it before. If you're interested in watching me use that pen and want to hear a little bit more about this pen and a little discount you can get if you choose to buy one for yourself, I'll link a video up in the top for you. It's a really nice little nifty pen. This one was actually done, so I think I was using the 0.1 line as well as the brush nib as well. That's the beauty of this pen, you can actually change the nibs, so you can basically make it your custom pen and fill it with the ink that you like most. I've got this kind of dark black blue ink, which is by Pelican, I think, but it's a really nice colour. I don't tend to go for black if I can avoid it. I've changed my mind a little bit on that, since I do like using Bic roller ball pens, so anything with ballpoint pens, I don't mind using a black ink, but I tend to go with blue where I can, just because I think it looks nicer on the eyes. But yeah, some cute little kitty cats. I think I found a reference for this guy on Pinterest somewhere, and he's just a little guy, just a baby. He's so cute. So yes, moving on. So these were some studies that I did as a part of my community, so over at the Inspiration to Creation Collective. Back when I started this sketchbook, I think our topic was dinosaurs. So we made it a mission to for 1 week focus on skeletons, maybe simplifying them. And I think I just went in with colored pencils with these. Probably simple polychromos by Faber-Castell, or there's my German coming out, Faber-Castell, or something similar, but I think went down with a yellow over the top with maybe a blue and green. This is purple, but I think that came out quite nicely. I studied some reference I found on Pinterest again. Absolutely love dinosaurs. I am. Even as an adult, I think you're never too old to love dinosaurs. And interesting story, I went to the Berlin Natural History Museum a couple weeks ago actually, and they have the original Archaeopteryx, or one of the Archaeopteryx specimens, and probably the most famous Archaeopteryx specimen is the Berlin specimen. And they had the actual fossil there in like a darkened room, and you can go in on your own. And I had a little moment. I saw this Archaeopteryx, and I was just oblivious to anything else going on in the world. It was like the world fell silent. I just had this one-to-one moment with this fossil, and I very almost cried. If I didn't tear up, I'm sure I did. I'm sure I teared up, and I just had this magical moment with that specimen, because I am a dino fiend. I've had a few books growing up of dinosaur books as a kid, and seeing some of these fossils, seeing some skeletons or examples of fossils that you see in your book, and then you see them in real life, and it's just like, I'm going to cry a little bit right now. I guess it's the same for any artist seeing art for the first time, seeing something you love dearly, seeing it first in a book and then seeing it in real life. It's quite a special moment. So yeah, the Archaeopteryx in Berlin was pretty special. But yeah, I absolutely love dinosaurs. That was quite a fun little project. I did some studies of fossils. I think this was even in a matrix, so it looks like I was trying to do the texture of the earth around the skull. So it was alright. I was doing some cross-hatching, giving it a practice. Don't know what was really going on here. Probably could have filled out the space a little bit better, but it goes to show that not everyone's sketchbook is full and, absolutely crammed with doodles. I think I'd like to, going forward, make more of the space. But yeah, so this was quite sparse. Something I'm going to work on going forward, I think. So yeah, dinosaurs, love them. Oh yeah, follow on from the dinosaur project as well. I think I was doing scales perhaps, or examples of skin texture from lizards using, I believe, Posca or some kind of acrylic paint pen. Again, I need to get better at filling out these spaces, but that's just personal preference, to be honest. I could do better. That's something I'm going to work on. Again, this is quite an old sketchbook now. Now I think about it, it's full of things from months ago that I've changed my thoughts on how to fill out a sketchbook since then. Now, moving on to this page, there's my Dusty. Here's my kitty cat Dusty. I think I maybe had just seen the tutorial or maybe the Domestica course by Suri Kim, which she's a very, very skilled, very talented artist. I loved pieces, and I think I followed her course to do, especially this one. I'm not so sure about this one. I think I was just having a practice with some black pen. I don't really like how black pen looks so much, but even though I don't like it, it's something I still want to work on, because I think when you get the technique down, maybe you can build up a bit more of an affinity with it. And I think that's something I was trying here. He came out quite cute. Here's my Dusty. This I believe is a little tea light holder that I had. I think it's one of those rock salt tea light holders with some matches that I left in the top there. I'm using perhaps a grey tombow and a black tombow over the top. I'm not too sure what I used, but again in that Surrey Kim style. But the next page is very much inspired by Surrey Kim. It's that light grey base illustration to get the leaves down. I can't remember if I did the yellow first. I think I might have done the yellow first for these little ginkgo leaves and then gone over the top with that expressive black brush pen. I really like actually how this page came out. It's quite simplistic, not full to the brim, but it's still quite fun. Ginkgos are one of my favourite trees. They are so special, so ancient. They are just magical trees, and I love how they go from that green to this gold in the autumn. So I think that was quite a fun page to do. So yeah, that was quite nice. Like the way that one came out. Oh yeah, this one I think was following on from the dinosaur project. I got some dinosaur footprints here. I believe I found this one actually as a reference on Pinterest, so if I did take it from Pinterest, I'll try and put a credit somewhere so that you can check it out. It was inspired by that. Using very much the pink Tombow, I believe, brush pen. It's definitely water-based, so I'm not sure. It might have been some other brand, maybe. I can't remember what they're called now, but yeah, definitely water-based brush pen. And then over the top with some a black brush pen, again Surrey Kim combined with the dinosaur project that we did. Straight up Surrey Kim. This is so inspired by Surrey Kim's style. I must have just taken a course not long before practicing this sketchbook page. I was actually inspired to do these little dachshunds because my parents, I think around about this time, got some dachshunds, or at least were about to get some dachshunds. And they're very sweet little dogs, so I was very much inspired to try and capture that shape. They're very distinct, obviously, with their body shape. Very charismatic little dogs, and because I live in Germany, they're everywhere. Everyone's got a dachshund, and they're super cute. So yeah, again, I like how this page came, this spread came out. I don't think I would actually want to clutter it up anymore with any extra things in the white spaces. But yeah, maybe I could have filled it out a little bit better. I'm not too sure, but I still like how these little doodles came out. So I think this first kind of section of the book is probably quite nice, but it kind of loses its way a little bit, but we'll get into that in a minute. Again, Surrey Kim. This was, I think, the same, very similar picture to this one here, but this one I think I'm much happier with. Again, it's my gorgeous cat Dusty probably asking me for breakfast in the morning. This one's better than these two, I think, but I'm still practicing that technique of putting in the grayscale or the light beige in first. I like how it makes the sketch seem to pop off a little bit better. But I very much like this expression on my cat's face. He is a cutie pie. So next, I think, yeah, again practicing that Surrey Kim. It must have been in just a burst of sketching actually, practicing this out. This one isn't even finished. I just was like, no, I hate it. I'm just gonna leave it there. But that's what happens in most sketchbooks, and we don't have to be all neat and perfect and making spreads that look like this all the time. You know, as much as I love this spread, it was a fun practice, but it's not really realistic for what goes on in a whole sketchbook. And this is the elephant's okay. It could be better, but it's still a part of the practice. I can't even remember what animal this is. Perhaps a wildebeest or some kind of antelope. I'm not too sure, but he was never finished. You can barely even see him, just the grayscale line art there. But yeah. And on to the next page. I am happy with her. She's come out quite nicely. She's got a nice lot of depth and volume to how to that sketch. I would have used a reference from Pinterest for both of these, I imagine. Mostly happy with that. I quite like the volume on her nose here. This is just very simple, very loose, getting something down. but her portrait is quite nice. I like how it goes, kind of fills out across the 2 pages. I think it looks quite nice. Got a nice, I like the texture that I've come up with here. But yeah, I think she's come out okay. I haven't done anything like this in a while actually, so it's been a hot minute since I've done anything in this kind of Sori Kim style, but maybe I've taken things away from it. Definitely like the way that the black looks here. I think maybe when black is offset by something else then it doesn't seem so harsh. But I'm not a massive fan of when it's, for me personally, I like it when other artists do it. I love it a lot actually when I see other artists use just amazing black ink work. But when I do it, I'm not such a massive fan. I think it's just a stylistic choice. I prefer things when they're a little bit softer. Maybe blue is quite nice, red's quite nice, but not so much on the black ink front for me. Though this one's looking quite nice. I like the detail and the line work here. Nice and fun. Straight up Sori Kim again. I was in a Sori Kim phase. I was practicing all of her techniques. And I like how these guys came out. I think with these ones, I put down the watercolor or the ink. The blue went down first. So I think I made a whole bunch of just expressive blue splotches first and foremost before I did anything else. Then I went over the top to try and incorporate that blue with the black ink. I think this came out quite nicely. It's nothing too fantastic. I like this fish here. I like how the tail looks. I like the varied line width in the tail. And perhaps this one a little bit more. I like the scales. This fin is quite pleasing to me. This one less so, but it was more about practicing putting in that ink over the top of the blue watercolor, I think it was. So yeah, that was quite fun. And then this little guy, who I think I made up on a quiet day. I think I was just sat on the sofa doodling away, and he came out. He's quite nice actually. I know this, I was proud of this one especially. He's a little bit inspired by Simon's cat actually, now I think about it. As if Simon's cat had a raccoon, I think it would be this guy. But I did this guy without sketching first, so I think I'm quite impressed with myself for having been able to do this. I quite like how he's come out. He's quite sweet, quite simplistic, and no sketching, which I'm not an advocate for saying you must draw something without sketching. That's not at all what I'm saying. I think it was more for me a practice in, can I put these shapes down without putting a base doodle down. I think if you need to sketch something first, please do. Don't ever feel like because one artist does it one way that you have to do it that way too. This is just a practice more than anything to put this line work down. He needs an extra leg, but I think I was struggling with where to put him, so I just left it. He's kind of cute, quite happy with how he came out. Little trash panda. Super cute. I'm a massive fan of raccoons. I've never seen one in the wild yet. I've seen them at the zoos or wildlife gardens or stuff, and they are just so cute. But yeah, that was the little raccoon guy. He doesn't have a name, so if you do have an idea for what he should be called, let me know in the comments. I'd be very happy to give him an interesting, cute name. Maybe he become like a little feature and pop up, you know, in other sketchbooks. Actually, I think this is the first time I drew him. I haven't drawn him since, but he needs a name, so do let me know what you think he should be called. Some more dinosaurs. See, I'm obsessed. I'm pretty sure that this was way after the dinosaur project. I'm sure it was. I don't think I was doing... Oh, maybe it was. I don't remember when this sketchbook, ages ago is when I filled it out. So I think I could have definitely put some more stuff in here. I'm kind of disappointed in myself that I've left it so blank, so perhaps I can go back and fill it out. But yeah, some more dinosaurs, like in just simple pencil. I don't even know what this guy is. I think I just came out of memory. So that, you know, his anatomy for his head is not great, but that's what happens when you just doodle. It's okay to doodle things from memory and just play around with stylistic choices. I think I can see some sort of style here for these guys. The hatching of the feathers, the line art. I think I like to do the kind of darker outline with some line variation and sort of simplistic detail. But yeah, he's pretty cute. Now I don't think I was a massive fan of what I doodled between these two pages, so I sellotaped them together so I don't have to see them. But this is a giant anteater. I think this was requested by someone I'm friends with on Instagram as an idea for someone to draw, and he's really cute. I think giant anteaters are really funny. I love their big long bushy tails. They're really interesting faces, and I can definitely see that I have some kind of style here. I've been convinced of myself for a very long time that I don't really have a style, but actually the more I kind of see my own stuff, looking back on it from, you know, from the future, looking back and seeing what the things look like, actually I can see that I do have quite a distinct style with some of these things, which is cool. You know, the line art, I do like having a line work, the sketchy feathery type fur, some of this cross hatching and adding a bit of form with that shading. I think he's come out really nicely, so a big fan of him. Now, see, this is one of those pages which I think I want to get more comfortable using sketchbooks for as just a space to practice and to write notes. I don't know what course this was a part of. Maybe it was Suri Kim, but also maybe not. I'm not entirely sure. But to use a water down, one of those brush pens, you know, you can get them that they fill up with, you can fill up with water so you can do watercolor on the go. But adding some watered down India ink inside a brush could be quite a nice way to add grayscale without having to carry around a Tombow or something, but you carry around this instead. But if you like India ink, then it's a good alternative. Practicing a tulip on a rainy day. And this dog, she was a resident around near where I lived, and I'd see her around a few times, and she was just the happiest, most go-lucky dog ever. She must have been paralyzed in her back end, so she had her wheels, but she was so sweet, so happy. I don't think she's with us anymore, but she was a sweet pea, so I had to put her in my sketchbook. Not long after I stopped seeing her around, so I wanted to make sure I didn't forget how lovely she was. Now this is a really bad attempt at a colour wheel. I think the paint I used must have been gouache, but I was definitely learning how to use gouache. I'm still learning. I'm not super expert at all with getting the consistency right, so I definitely have to do some more courses on that. But this was for a colour theory class that we did with the community, with the ITCC, Inspiration to Creation Collective. We did a whole workshop on colour theory. That's one thing I love doing with the community, is doing workshops together, streaming classes together, and I get to learn at the same time. So it's, you know, I'm less of the teacher, more of a student, and I love being a part of that, and being able to help with fellow artists learning new skills, because I think we're all, you know, all students. We always can do with learning new things, and sometimes we get a little bit lost on skills, or we might get frustrated with our own skills and go, oh, I'm not improving, so what do I do? And learning can be hard. Learning alone can be hard, but learning as a part of a group can actually be really helpful. And I'm able to do classes, or we're able to do classes that we want to do but haven't found the time for yet. So that's a big part of that community that I really enjoy. So that was colour theory. A massive blank page, a really poor attempt at a Vaporeon. I want to do a video on doing some Pokemon illustrations soon, so if you have a favourite Pokemon, let me know in the comments. I do want to get that filmed over the next couple of weeks. It's been a busy one. It's been busy now that I have a little job in the daytime. Sometimes I struggle with getting YouTube made, but it's still something I'd like to do. So perhaps videos won't be so common, but they will be still happening from time to time. Maybe every other week, maybe every week. I'm not sure yet, but a Pokemon video is definitely something I'd like to do. This was with some kind of water-based marker. Stylizing Pokemon is quite a tricky one for me, so I'm hoping that maybe with doing a Pokemon drawing challenge I'd get better at that. But this guy was okay. I think I drew him, wasn't super happy, so I just kind of went, I'm gonna leave that behind and turn over the page. So this was a gouache and coloured pencil practice of a couple of sea creatures. I think I'm happier with these ones. I like the combination of gouache and coloured pencil. It adds a really nice sort of texture and detail to gouache for me. That's something I definitely want to try again more in the future. Again, you know, this spread's a little bit better. I like the filling out the empty spaces with paint. Could be improved, but it's not necessarily about being perfect. It is about practicing these things, and I was practicing gouache this day, and that came out okay. It was more about the practice, and I'm happy with that. So those were super cute. I want to draw whales more. I think whales for some reason are really tricky for me. It's like I just can't get them right in my head. So I want to work on that for sure going forward. Again, completely blank space. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's because the texture on the back of this wet page made it go all crumply. I'm not too sure. But I drew this little otter using a fun tool that was to help with the golden ratio. It came out quite sweet, just done in pencils, quite simple with a few flowers as well to help balance out that sketch. I like that composition. I think it was interesting, kind of fun, but maybe I should go back and fill out this page. But this is the truth, we don't always fill out every single page of our sketchbook, I guess, and try not to feel too bad about that. So here I am using my Tom Studio Lumos again. This one's more of a realistic guy. Then I went in with pencil to try and stylize this one from memory. So I drew this one from a reference. I think she came out really nicely. I love this kind of sketching, the hatching here. Again, I think I did this with the finest nib available and perhaps the brush nib, I think. So I can't remember quite what I did, but I'm happy with the composition on this guy. I think I like the fact that the detail is more up here, so that your eyes are kind of drawn to this section and away from this this part of the body. So that's something I like playing with, is playing with detail. Most of the time I don't do detail because I'm lazy and I get bored, but actually sometimes it can work out quite nicely, and I think this can be an artistic choice to specifically go in and say, right, detail's going to be here, less detail down here, and it's all about drawing the eye up into that face. So I know it's a technique, but I don't do it necessarily on purpose. Anyway, so I did her one day, and then the next day I came through and I thought, you know what, I want to draw a giraffe again, but I'm going to go in and just do purely from memory, and I think she's quite sweet. I love the eyelashes of a giraffe, so I think I kind of exaggerated those for her features. And yeah, super cute, the tongue hanging out, adorable. So big fan of giraffe. I need to draw them more, really. Don't draw them enough. And another one. So this is another project I did with the community, the ITCC. And this one I was working on gouache. So this is where some of that the techniques were coming through, and I was realizing how to use gouache properly. Definitely think I was still over diluting some of this. The oranges, the leaves, they are better. They're much less less washed out, less watery, less streaky. The oranges could be better, but it was more about practicing limited palettes. So this was nice complementary orange and bluey green. That was a big fun project to do. I think it was a combination of gouache and also maybe a bit of color theory. So, you know, all of these projects I do, I make sure to record them so I can watch them back again. And if anyone else wants to join, then you're more than welcome to. All of these projects or these workshops are recorded, ready for you to watch again if you do want to come and join us. But it's super cool. I do like how this looks. It's very simplistic, very sketchy, and I kind of like it. I'm kind of vibing it. So this page is some pencil sketches. This guy, this tree, I can't remember. I think I drew it from memory, but I was inspired by an artist that I follow on Instagram. I can't remember what their handle is, so if I do remember, I'll try and put it up on the page. Entirely inspired by them. Their line work is amazing, but I definitely wanted to replicate my own bonsai trees. I love the shapes, the contortion of the trees. It's something that I share with my father, actually. My dad is a massive bonsai grower, and so I'm a big fan of bonsai trees. I think they're so charismatic and sweet and just beautiful. So yeah, definitely need to draw some more trees. I think it was just a practice in drawing trees. I don't think I'd really drawn them before, but it was nice to give it a go. Now this maybe is a bit of a spoiler for anybody who is a fan of Critical Role, so maybe I won't go into too much detail about this, but this is FCG, a character from Critical Role who I'm a massive fan of. Such a sweetheart. Anybody who's a fan of Critical Role, maybe if you're up to date with Critical Role Campaign 3, you'll understand why I went about drawing this. He's very, very powerful, very poignant character, so big fan of him. Them, sorry, I think they were they. Big fan of that character. FCG was very special. Yes, so I had to draw them in my sketchbook. Very sweet, big fan. Again, practicing of colour theory. I think this one was trying to practice values with colour, mixing these colour palettes with the understanding of a bit of colour theory and trying to differentiate the value a little bit, and realising that it's really difficult to get values different when you're playing around with colours. But I hope to get better about that. I hope to improve myself and to learn a bit more about doing colour theory, especially with using multiple different colours and playing with value a little bit. And then these are two different doodles of the same little cat. I know this cat is a famous little kitten video that is all over the internet. I've seen it many times, but it became kind of immortalized recently with a very silly Instagram account called Car Honk Daily, and it's just this kitten making a car honking noise, and every single time I see it, it makes me laugh, and it's so cute that I watch it a few times, even though I know the same video is going to be up again tomorrow. It's very funny, very sweet, so I had to draw that little kitty cat. And so more playing with gouache, again trying to play with some of these values. I was mixing the palettes together using some of my more favorite colors. I still wasn't quite grasping how to use gouache, and I'm still learning very much so. I was watering them down too much. They're really streaky, so I'm gonna have to go back and learn some more about gouache and improve my skills there for sure. But these came out, no, not a big fan of these at all. I'm gonna say it. No, I don't like these. Not a fan of how these look. I think it was just practice more than anything. But it goes to show sketchbooks aren't always full with pretty things that you're always happy with. But yeah, moving on. Now, again, I think that's gouache and pencils. Yeah, I think it is. It's a little bit, so I was getting a bit better with the consistency here, but this is just all too washed out. It's not right. I can do much better, but it was more about the practice and just putting something in my sketchbook that day. And here, drawing Lugia, my favorite Pokemon of all time, trying to stylize her a little bit. I think the thing is with Pokemon, I said it earlier, is that they can be quite difficult to stylize, especially because they're already stylized. I don't want to be copying them directly if I can avoid it. I want to add my own little spin to it, but it's quite difficult. So that's what I want to do by doing a whole Pokemon video in the future, hopefully. And then what have I got here? I've got a couple of, I think this is just pencil sketches. Yeah, so this was a tree. Where was this? I put a date on it. So that, oh my gosh, April. I drew this in April and it's August. Oh my goodness me, 4 months. Anyway, I can't remember where this tree actually was, but it was quite nice to just sit and sketch. Perhaps it was in the park near me. I don't know. I can't remember where this tree was. Anyway, I sketched out using some pencils. And this guy is a type of antelope. I think is it a Saiga antelope, who are really cool. They've got this like proboscis nose. It's really funny looking, but they're really cool. Quite special creatures. This is a doe, I think. So I think the males have antlers, or horns rather. Males have horns. But she was quite pretty to draw. Interesting trying out some pencil sketches. Again, graphite, because it's quite dark, I tend not to use it so much. I think I was just practicing using graphite here and trying some different techniques on shading and stuff, but that came out quite nicely. onto this page. I think that's a fossa. I can't remember, but I just keep leaving massive chunks out, and I need to work on that. But that's a plan for a future sketchbook. Like I said, this is probably about four months old now, so that's something I will work on going forward. Again, this is this is quite a simplistic dough. I think I maybe used a reference, I cannot remember, maybe it was part reference, part memory. I do like drawing deer, I think they're lovely shapes. I was practicing that cross hatching again to get that all together. But I like how she came out. The value is quite nice, the volume's quite nice, so she looks kind of full in 3D and quite simplistic. So I'll have to work on that a little bit as well, because I think that's quite a fun style. And this was from a little meetup. So there's an artist that I met via Instagram who actually lives nearby. So we both met up and we went for a cup of coffee, and I drew the coffee. Not doing very much still life, so it was quite nice to go about doing this. So that was really fun, just to meet her and hang out with her. That was really cool. Now, I am a massive fan of this little drawing that I did. I love Lugia, I love Mew. They're two of my absolute favourite Pokemon. I'm really happy with how this pose came out. And Mew again, absolute favourite Pokemon. Now, I drew this actually for a YouTube video, so perhaps I will link that somewhere, maybe in the description. But this was again using my Tom's Studio pen, which I shared the link for earlier. Big fan of this pen, it does so much. Love the ink that I've chosen to go with it. It's yeah, super cute spread. Really happy actually with the layout of the spread. At first I was kind of like, oh, it feels really cramped and maybe I could do it better, but no, I think these came out really nicely. So yeah, love these guys, love these cute little weird creatures. And maybe I should draw more of these. I will consider drawing some more of these in the future. Again, Lugia. The wonderful Pokemon that is Lugia. And this little ducky, which I think I saw a reference for on Pinterest. Everything is on Pinterest. Pinterest is life. So I drew this little duck using this nice little cross-hatching style. Trying to work on my cross-hatching to build up that volume and value with the value, not the value, the volume of the object that I'm drawing, so that it looks really kind of it has more depth when you use shading correctly, and it's not something I've ever really grasped. So that's something I've been trying to work on, and I want to work on a little bit better. Again, Lugia. And second favourite Pokemon, I can't tell whether Lugia and Mew are tied for first place. They kind of are, but Mew is super cute. I was trying to go off sort of stylistic choices here, adding in some of these swirls. Just giving it a little bit more life. I think it adds a little bit of energy to the illustration. Did use black ink. I think that's come out quite nicely. Works quite nicely in this particular style anyway. And I wanted to play around with just filling out I filled out the base color first and added the lines over the top. So that was quite an interesting way to go about drawing these. And I think actually for the rest of my sketchbook, missed this page, but for the rest of the sketchbook I did the same with some of these lovely Pokemon. We have Espeon, Bulbasaur and Charmander. I think these might have been inspired by someone else, I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember where I got the idea from, but again, I love that kind of colouring in the base first, adding lines over the top. Adds quite a lot of interest to these guys. I think these were done in alcohol markers rather than water-based. So these are water-based, and then yes, you can tell because water-based didn't bleed through, but the alcohol markers did. And these were done in alcohol markers just to practice a few techniques. And yeah, I want to draw more Pokemon, so tell me your favourite Pokemon. I've got a list from people that I asked on Instagram, so I do have a big old list, and maybe I should go about for my next video doing a Pokemon themed video. So that's it really. I know this is probably going to be a longer video of just me waffling and chatting away about things. So I hope you found it kind of interesting. It's nice to actually show a finished sketchbook for a change. And I need to finish more sketchbooks, so I'm going to make that my mission. So yeah, I hope you found that interesting. If there are any sketches that you really enjoyed, let me know. I'd love to hear it. And again, every comment is massively appreciated. Every time I get a like on a video, if you subscribe, it means the absolute world to me. You guys are awesome, and I'm sorry that I'm not posting as much as I wish I could. That's what happens when life kind of throws you some curveballs, but all is good, all is well. I am happy, I am healthy, I am living a good life and getting to do more art for me, which is really nice. So all is well, and I am very grateful if you stuck it out to the end. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you again for the next video. Bye guys.